Milwaukee Tool has a new Gen 2 switch tank that is model number 3019-20PS, and if you are Googling switch tank or switch tank issues, make sure that you're reading about the new Gen 2. The Gen 1 had a lot of leaking issues. In some cases, right from the factory, as soon as you got it, the Gen 2 is going to take care of that with a lot of different setups on the inside of the tank, and also going to be a little bit different on the outside. Nothing is compatible from the Gen 1 to the Gen 2 version, so once you buy the Gen 2, you're going to have all Gen 2 tanks. Approximate pricing on the full kit, but bare tool, no battery, is going to be approximately $389 each tank, whether it be the herbicide and pesticide tank or the water spraying tank behind me. It's going to be around $199. Now those prices are going to vary, so make sure you look them up. You can click the links below and it will take you directly to them. Let's look at what this sprayer is kind of compared to the older model, and I'll walk you through what improvements they made. The base of this unit has stayed very similar. We still have a pump motor that is on the bottom that is going to drive the internal pump that's in the tank, 2 contacts on the outside that's going to transfer power from here to the tank. Now this is raised, so it's not going to get as much water or anything down at the bottom. It's not going to sit in any water. I think this is a huge upgrade, gets it up and away. Make sure these contacts are always clean. Never let these contacts hit anything else when a battery is in here. That could be bad. Now the battery will fit a 12 amp hour. It is directly up in front. I think that is a better placement for it. It's easy to get to and very simple. Controls again are in the same exact place. We're going from 1 to 5, which the herbicide sprayer is going to be 1/10 of a gallon all the way up to 0.6 of a gallon per minute. On and off switch is right there. Very, very sweet. You'll see a green light turn on when you're in the on position. Very similar to the older models. The tanks have 2 places that are going to hook into the back of the tank or the base, similar to as the older model. And once we put that in, it's going to clip in front in 2 places, unlike the older model which clipped in front and in back. I think this is a much better way of connecting the tank. You could actually have someone do it while the base is still on your back, which wouldn't have been able to happen in the past. The tank itself, very familiar again to the old model, with a little bit of differences, mostly being the pump is up front. This can all be taken apart and removed if need be from the tank if you had any repairs. Now this is going to be hard for me to show you. That is going to be the screen that is just sitting there, and that is the connection that you have going into the pump. You'll notice that we could remove those because they're just a simple clamp that's on there if we needed to. Now this will be even harder to see, but let me try to show you. That's not going to work. Basically, you can get inside, pull up that hose, which is sitting in my fingers over here on top of my hand, right there. That is your screen. So if you needed to, you could actually pull the screen off to clean it, which I think is going to be another good option because, let's face it, all chemicals inside here get dirty, things happen, those screens plug up. This is going to be easy to fix. It's also pulling directly from the bottom of the tank, which I think is easier to see right here. This is going to allow you to get all the chemical up instead of leaving a large amount in the bottom of the tank that you couldn't get to before. One of my favorite things in this new cap is that we have a measuring cup that's built in. You don't have to keep it there, but it secures itself in place very easily. It's not coming out. It's not just going to fall in. Fully labeled. I think that's great. So if you're out in the field, you don't have to carry another one with you, although that one's going to get covered in chemicals, so make sure you're using your gloves. The hose and sheathing is basically the same, along with the handle. You're going to have a lock off on this if you want to lock it out so that the handle can't be pulled, or once that's in place, you want to pull in, you can push the button, it will lock it on completely. Now this is all removable. The only real plastic piece that you have on the end of the wand or the stainless steel extension is going to be the one that holds it in place. 2 O-rings here that are going to keep that sealed, and very simple to put on, take off. Most people are going to put that on once and leave it on, but if you need to take it off for cleaning, you can. Again, stainless steel hose all the way to the end. This is going to be the brass sprayer that sprays in a cone, fully adjustable by turning this in and out. Very easy to take off. Also comes with an angled sprayer that is plastic. This is going to be a fan. So if you'd like to spray something in a fan rather than a cone, or you're using something that's a little more caustic, you can put the plastic one on and deal with it. You can't adjust the fan. It's just going to be adjustable for the flow. Very simple to use, and I would highly suggest cleaning all this stuff up after use. That was one thing that I had trouble with in the last one, was this tip getting a little bit corroded, because you have a switch tank, right? And that switch tank means that you can store chemicals in multiple different places, but you shouldn't really leave the chemicals in here. It's more for the day. I know people do and will. One of the things I really liked about this was an easy way of storing this all together. Clips in, stays in place. When you are removing the tank, this one is much better than the last model. It clips in the top and stays there. The last model didn't exactly clip in that easy. It was much harder to use, and it just didn't make as much sense. They fixed that. The back straps. Similar, I feel like they're a little bit thinner, they're a little more water resistant. I like that. You can adjust this up and down if you want to carry this higher or lower on your back. There is a back pad down here. Again, I think it's a little bit thinner, but if it gets wet, it's not going to soak in that water. Sometimes I had that problem on the other ones. If you had something that was spilling around in the back of the truck or it rained, that pad would soak up some water. Now to put this on, very simple. I always do this off the back of my truck. It's just easier, not hard to get your hands through, get everything in place. The one thing that I have a complaint with and how I'm built, I would like to have these breast straps a little bit lower. They are a little bit high for how my body is built, but everything here is adjustable, except I can't put this any lower. If you look, there's a red thread here that is stopping me from going any further down than that, but that allows me to get it in place. I could pull these straps plenty big enough for a very large guy, and you can hold this wherever you'd like. For me, I am about right there, so I need to adjust this just a little bit, but everything is within reach. If I want to turn this on, turn it off, adjust the flow, not hard to get to. I think that's perfect, just like the old model. And then the only thing I can't reach is the battery. That is all the way in back. I don't think that that's going to be necessary. Taking it off, just as simple. I think the biggest issue is that it clips on my watch every time. And then my microphone. So other than that, pretty simple. So is there any difference in performance between this guy here and the Gen 1 switch tank? I do not think there's a huge difference. On level 5, we might see a little bit more flow, but at the same point, the old switch tank had great performance also. Noise is very similar. I don't see much there. It is not loud. You can hear it when it's on. It will turn off as soon as it gets up to the proper pressure. Now on low pressure, what we see here a little bit is some pulsing. And that was about the same as what we would get before on the old model. See if you can see that. Just a little bit of a pulse that's going out there. Not a big deal. It's very easily controlled. That is all the way in. If you don't want the pulse, you can go to a little bit more of a stream or keep screwing it. It's still going to pulse as far as we go in. But there is basically no noise at this point when you're on low. Little bit of a pulse on level 3. Let's see if we can show that. You can hear it. Nothing that would affect getting around and spraying anything. I really think that what they've done to this is made it a lot better, because in the past you would have heard that pump running at 1 speed and it would have kind of gone up and down in pressure. Now they're still slowing that pump down, and while you're still getting a small pulse, it is very, very controllable and quiet. As you can see outside, it's very early spring, so I need a little bit more time with this to make sure that A, no leaks form, B, it still works as expected while I start to really get in and use it. But so far, so good. I want to get into using the watering tank. I think that's going to be huge for a lot of people that could go across many different genres of business. So far here, what I think is great, no water leaks. This is none coming from the tank. You can shake things up. I think they've fixed all the issues that you would have seen in the older model. It's pricey. That's probably my only downside to this. By the time you get 2 tanks into this, you're in about 600 bucks, and it's a little expensive. Love to hear your comments. Other than that, I think they've nailed this. So for contractors out there, you're gonna spend that money and get what you need to get your job done. And you're gonna enjoy having multiple tanks, being able to switch through, label them, do whatever you need to. I think that's pretty sweet. Give me a like in this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment below as we've already asked. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.